To Myrtle Beach, coast to coast, South Carolina, courtesy of our EarthCam. Good morning to our viewers there in the Palmetto State, my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. Happy Friday to you. A serious topic to get to here in South Carolina, controversy surrounding a bill being pushed by South Carolina Republicans that could allow the death penalty for women who have an abortion. We'll explain. The South Carolina Prenatal Equal Protection Act would, quote, ensure that an unborn child who is a victim of homicide is afforded equal protection under the homicide laws of the state, unquote. South Carolina Supreme Court ruling a ban on abortions after 6 weeks is unconstitutional. South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace is a member of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, and she joins the National Report. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Good morning and happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to get to the College of Charleston Cougar loss yesterday in just a bit. I want to start.
Tears.
It was tough. It was tough. I wanted to start, though, with this very serious matter and something that hit close to home for you. I know that you tweeted this out, very sensitive, but I assume that you're comfortable sharing it. You put it on Twitter. I wanted to show the viewers this. You wrote, "It is deeply disturbing to me as a woman and as a victim of rape that some in my home state want to give rapists more rights than women who've been raped. And I don't know why I have to say this, but it isn't pro-life to execute a woman who seeks an abortion after being raped." I know you put that out there again on Twitter. I know it's also a state issue, but what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, it's deeply disturbing. And this story is not just national news, but it's also made international headlines across the world. And there were 21 state lawmakers a few weeks ago who sponsored a bill that would give rapists more rights than women who've been raped because under our law, murder has the death penalty. And that's not the message that I believe we want to be sending to women. There are not exceptions in that bill for rape or even for girls who are victims of incest. And I was a victim of rape when I was 16. I would like to ask these lawmakers if they think that I should be executed because I was raped. It's a very sensitive topic. There are a lot of people that believe life begins at conception, but at the same time, the vast majority, 99.999, almost everybody doesn't believe that if you're raped, that you should be executed for having abortion if you're raped. And so it's a very sensitive issue, but also very important to me and my entire state of South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear from constituents on this, again, a state legislature issue, but you believe
every day.
Yeah, to be very clear, you believe that there should be exceptions with rape or incest in your home state. Would that be correct?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, we had, and I have a great pro-life voting record, almost perfect voting record, but also at the same time, I've worked when I was a state lawmaker before I made it to Congress. We had exceptions for rape and incest in a heartbeat bill because I advocated and worked for that. I told my story about being raped as a teenager at the age of 16. I dropped out of high school. I wanted to end my life. And it was a very difficult time for me. And I wanted to share that story. And there are many women like me, not just in South Carolina, but around the country. And we want to make sure that women who've been raped, girls who are victims of incest, that they're protected in these laws that are changing around the country.
I appreciate you sharing that personal story. I know it's difficult, but I'm sure there are many women that need to hear your story. We appreciate you opening up about that. I know that you've been very vocal on foreign military policy, and I wanted to bring up a few things that are going on and perhaps get your take on this. We just learned recently that Chinese President Xi Jinping is going to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. We've learned that 2 NATO countries now are going to send MiG fighter jets to Ukraine now at the request of President Zelensky. But we're also learning about that Russian jet that took down a $30 million American drone over the Black Sea. What are your thoughts on everything that is happening, especially this meeting between these two world leaders? It's supposed to be about for the sake of peace, at least that's according to Chinese officials. What are your thoughts on what is happening here, how this is being handled by this administration, and how closely this meeting between the two superpowers will be watched?
I want to make no mistake here. Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party, they're liars. I mean, there are open source media reports that have come out in the last 24 hours that they're going to send body armor, ammo, and weapons to Russian soldiers. And I see this as an escalation in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia has also recent reports have showed us that Russia also wants to take over parts of Poland once they take Ukraine. And nobody in the U.S., myself included, I have a lot of family members that are active duty military. We don't want to see war with Russia. We don't want to see our troops in Ukraine. I support our European allies and NATO members who want to support Ukraine. They are closest to this fight. And we want to ensure that Ukraine fights this war on its own and that they win, because the consequences are going to be far worse. I mean, we've, as a nation, spent about $113 billion sending or trying to send aid to Ukraine, although not all of it's gotten there. The State Department has slow-rolled it. But if Russia takes over Ukraine, the cost to the United States long-term will be at least 10 times that. It'll be far more expensive to our nation if that happens. And seeing the alliance between Iran and Russia, now China and Russia, is deeply, deeply disturbing.
Admiral Kirby is staying strong on not sending F-16s over to Ukraine, yet you've got 2 NATO members sending over MiG fighter jets. Where do you stand on that argument?
Well, our NATO allies can do what they want. MiG jets are better than, I believe, F-16s because Ukraine pilots are better trained for the MiGs than they are for an F-16 or any other jet. And so, they need all the support they can get. And our European allies are stepping up. They're spending a significant portion of their economy and GDP to support Ukraine and support their own defenses, because if Russia takes over Ukraine, it's not going to stop there. Yeah. They will invade our allied nations in Europe.
Russia says those MiGs will be subject to destruction. That was their response. I've got about a few seconds left with you. College of Charleston, March Madness Round 1, a loss by 6 points. It was one of the closest games that we've watched. Others seem to be somewhere close. Furman was one that no one.
Furman's still in the heat. I mean, they're in the race still. They're still in March Madness. So we at least have one South Carolina school still in the mix right now. And we're proud of that.
All right. Anything else you want to say to the Cougars out there, Cougar Nation?
No, we love our Cougars and just love seeing them make it as far as they did this season. We're very proud of them.
Same here. I'm a College of Charleston alum, so I was brokenhearted yesterday, but I got a chance to wear a College of Charleston sweatshirt around Manhattan. No one knew what game I was watching, but I was very excited about it, but unfortunate.
We're proud of our Cougs.
Absolutely. Yeah, they did a great job. Congresswoman Nancy Mace joining us here on St. Patty's Day. Good to see you. Enjoy your weekend, Congresswoman.
Thank you. You too.
Well, there's some developing news on the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank. We're going to take a closer look. The opening bell is up next. Plus, does the future of American jobs, what does it look like? We'll be right back.
This country was made by tax rebels, freedom fighters, gold seekers, believers, lovers, and true patriots. We're Newsmax, and we're their heirs, and so are you. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.
Food, especially healthy food, is expensive. It is so hard to find whole, natural fruits and vegetables at a reasonable price. And no one knows this better than Balance of Nature. They are always searching for the highest quality farms that produce the highest quality fruits and vegetables, so you can get them at a fraction of the cost. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies contain only the best fruits and vegetables that undergo an advanced vacuum cold process that preserves them